This week we're looking at a verse that is packed with significance and meaning and great grammar. It's Romans chapter 2 verse 1, and before we get to it, let's talk about chapter 1 of Romans. Much of chapter 1 is filled with a list of sinful and shameful traits and behaviors, and we're told that the world is just filled with these sinful and shameful traits and behaviors. But then, at the beginning of chapter 2, Paul throws a caution to his readers in Rome. Let's take a look at it from the ESV, Romans chapter 2, verse 1. Therefore, you have no excuse, O man, every one of you who judges, for in passing judgment on another, you condemn yourself, because you, the judge, practice the very same things. So there's fascinating stuff here. We're going to break it down into little pieces, and let us begin. Dio anapologetos e. So we'll start with this first phrase. Dio is wherefore or therefore. Anapologetos is an alpha privative that comes from apologetos, which is an apology. We get our English word apology from this. It's an apology, an explanation, an excuse, or a defense. Now, because it's an alpha privative, it is being without an excuse, being without a defense. And then we get the verb a. A is the present indicative second person singular of a me. It is you singular are. That's super important. Not you plural are, you singular are. You are what? You are without excuse, without defense. Therefore, you are without excuse or defense. That brings us to our first item of significance. The fact that the verb is in the singular and not the plural tells us something very important. The letter is written from the Apostle Paul to the community of faith, the churches in Rome. But this admonition in chapter 2, verse 1 is directed to individuals. It's in the second person singular, not the plural. The admonition that he's giving is about individual behavior, not about corporate behavior. He's not counseling the whole church on how to act. He's counseling the individuals who make up the church in how to act, or actually here in how not to act. So let's carry on and move on to the next part. O anthrope, we'll stop there. O anthrope. So notice that the omega here has a smooth breathing mark. It is O, not ho. This will become important with the rest of the sentence. O anthrope. Anthrope is the vocative case of anthropos. The vocative case is the case of calling. And so here, because it has the O in front of it, we have the vocative of emphatic address. So my daughter's name is Ashley. Let's say we're at an event somewhere and she and her family are going to come and sit with us, and I raise my hand and shout, "Ashley, we're over here." That is simply the vocative of direct address. I'm just calling to her and getting her attention. But if I say, "Oh, Ashley, firstborn child of mine, come and enter the bosom of your family's love," right? The O makes it the vocative of emphatic address. So here, Paul writes, "O anthrope," the vocative of emphatic address. He's really stressing, "Oh man." And then we get the rest of it, pas ho krinon. Either everyone who judges or the one who judges everyone. So the challenge here is it's not crystal clear which one it is, but I think there's a good reason for us to believe that it's kind of everyone who judges, or whoever judges, right? The one who judges, whoever. Doesn't make a difference which one you are. Whoever judges in the present tense, like on the regular, this message is for you. What message? you are without excuse or defense. Right? Pretty powerful stuff. So let us go and look at our second significant item. There are many present tense verses in the verbs in this verse, and they are what are called customary presents. Customary presents deal with either something that happens regularly or is an ongoing state. Now, some people might argue that these are gnomic presents, like ho krinon might be considered a gnomic present, which is a present that is sort of a defining feature of the action, right? So the one who judges, that's the way we're defining this person. But nobody judges continually, like without stop as a steady state. It's more likely that the judging is with such regularity as to be customary. So in the verse, the verbs are almost certainly customary presents, things that are happening with such frequency and such regularity that they are the custom and not an exception to the norm. So hold on to that thought because it's going to be important as we carry on. This admonition in chapter 2, verse 1 is to anyone and everyone who customarily or regularly judges. Let's move on and look at the next phrase. En hogar krines ton heteron seauton kata krines. So en hogar krines. En is in, ho with the rough breathing mark, not the smooth breathing mark. This is not saying oh, this is a pronoun in the dative case for in whom or whomever or in what or whatever, krines, you judge, ton heteron, the other, in whatever you judge the other, and please notice on the slide that I have to the other, but it should be the other. To other, but it should be the other. Seauton, yourself, kata krines, you condemn. So we had o anthrope, o man, but here we have en ho krines, in whatever you judge the other. In whatever matter you judge the other, we get this condemnation, seauton kata krines. So, in whatever you, singular, continually judge the other, in whatever matters you continually judge the other, and the other might be any other with the influence of the pas from the previous phrase, you condemn yourself. So look at the verbs. Krines ton heteron and seauton kata krines. In judging the other, you condemn yourself. Both verbs, present active indicative, second person singular, customary presence. Every time you do this thing, as often as you do this thing, judge the other, you are condemning yourself. As often as krines, you judge, seauton kata krines, you condemn yourself. That's the power of the customary present. That's the power of the grammatical structure that Paul chose. These two related actions are true every time they happen, as often as they happen. When you judge the other, you condemn yourself. Let's look at the last bit. Tagar auta prases ho krinon. So, tagar auta, for the things, what things? The things that you're judging in the other. Prases, this word we get our English word practice from. You do, again, second person singular, present active indicative, second person singular. You do the things, ho krinon. You who judge do these things. So how is it that you are condemning yourself when you judge the other? Because you who judge do these same things. The very things that you're condemning the other, that you're judging the other for, you do yourself. Therefore, you are condemning yourself by judging the other. It doesn't mean that you're doing it without stop. It doesn't mean that you're perpetually and habitually doing it, but you're doing it regularly enough for it to be customary, the customary present. So in the act of judging the other, you are condemning yourself inasmuch as your acts are frequently the same as those of the other whom you are judging. You see the power of the customary present? If you become a regular judger, your judging, krines, winds up becoming your self-condemnation, seauton kata krines, kata down, krines judging. When you judge the other, you judge down yourself, you condemn yourself. Why? Because you do process the same stuff. Powerful, powerful use of this grammatical construction to convey the message. Finally, let's look at verse 2 from the ESV. We know that the judgment of God rightly falls on those who practice such things. Now, the ESV is a great version. I love it. I use it primarily, but I want to point out there's something in the Greek here that's more powerful. Oidemen de hoti to krima to theou estin kata aletheon. So oidemen, we know, hoti, that, to krima to theou, the judgment of God. Krima here is the verdict, whereas krines from our previous verse is the process of judging. We know that God's verdict, estin kata aletheon, is according to truth. So what's the difference between my judging and God's judging? God's judging is kata ten aletheon, according to truth, whereas my judging is weak inasmuch as I don't know the truth. I don't know the whole truth about the other person. I don't know the whole truth about God. I may not know the whole truth about me, about righteousness, about justice, about mercy. I don't know the whole truth. In fact, sometimes I'm actively in denial of the truth when I'm judging the other. Sometimes I can't see the plank in my own eye because of denial while I'm spotting the speck of dust in your eye. God's judgment is according to truth. My judgment is not necessarily according to truth, and therefore my judgment is a lesser judgment. And that's the magnificence of verse 1. If you judge customarily, regularly, the other, you will condemn yourself, seauton kata krines, you will condemn yourself. Why? Because you don't know the truth, you're ignoring the truth, and part of the truth is process ta aute. You do regularly, customarily, these same things. Fantastic little verse, filled with interesting stuff. Go back and take a look at it. Read chapter 1 and see the list of sinful and shameful stuff. And then see the power of this counter, this admonition from Paul to the individuals that make up the community so that they don't self-condemn while judging the people they see committing those sinful and shameful acts. Great stuff. I hope that was good for you. If it was, you know what to do with the liking and the sharing and the subscribing. Tell a friend that you like the channel. Hit the notification dinger so that you know when there's new content. And until we see one another again, charis kai erene soi, to you, singular, as is our custom. Have a great day. Take care. See you next time.